Odyssey of the Righteous, Chapter 1. The Prophecy of Destiny. The celestial radiant sun shines upon the kingdom of Amaruth, the kingdom of destiny. Praise be to the Lord of mankind, there is nothing like unto him. King Jill's praise, a man of 20 of age, remembering, being grateful, as he prepares to address his people. A kingdom now lies under your feet, sire, says his adviser, coldly, as 2 royal armored knights of Amaruth, of the royal golden army which has sworn allegiance to the king, place the crown gently upon the king's head as the symbol of the chosen monarch of the kingdom of the stars. All of the king's advisors, noble women and men, religious authority figures, look upon him as they are welcome in the grand palace of legend, to pray goodness for the king and to be by his side during his coronation. Many with envy, many with admiration, most with anger in their hearts, for not always do subjects of the ruler have the best interests in mind. A kingdom lies with me, not under my feet. The difference needs to be understood in this council. It is we who shall work for our people's benefit, not the other way around. The king makes it so that his words are clear, so that it is heard not only by the one who has spoken to him, but to all of power present. A nation of ancient history, living through the test of time, at an age of modernity. Amaruth. Tell me, warriors of legend, he speaks to the golden armored sword bearers. You have sworn your allegiance to me, and after birth you are taught to never speak, but to eat and drink, and to train with the tools of death, only so that you may serve your king or queen. Your traditions are noble, yet you may have to protect one who may not be a compassionate, righteous leader. That is what you have been taught. A new age has arrived. Change shall come, now that I sit on the throne of my forefathers. Thus I command you with this. Should a day come when my heart becomes corrupt and I forget the love for Amaruth, strike me dead. You all are of conscious minds, even if your speech is forbidden, although I would rather have you speak. Yet I command you, should one day my actions threaten the safety of Amaruth, let me be slain by your hands, O noble warriors. The many rows of golden armored royal knights hear well the words of the king and unsheath their swords, bringing them close to their chests as a gesture of honoring what the king has commanded them. The knights who defend the capital of Amaruth do so without ever stepping foot outside, ever speaking, ever disobeying the monarch's command. Embroidered in their armor is the symbol of allegiance, the scaled dragon of Amaruth's legend, symbolizing servitude. They honor the king, who is so bold and speaks of justice. The nobles and the aristocrats dining and feasting there are not amused by the king's honesty. Some scoff at the king's benevolence and his words of righteousness. Some can be heard in the audience to burst out laughing, as if mocking him. With an order, King Giles could have them all killed, these treacherous people of authority, Yet he is a noble king, a just king, who cares not for these naysayers and those who mock. He does not require them to have faith in him. He knows well that in a world torn asunder by war, it falls upon him to reforge ties which have been shattered. The answer to the predicaments of mankind remain in Amaruth or under it. The palace shines radiantly as the mosaic glass allows the light of a glorious sun to shine upon the halls. The king sits on his majestic throne, knowing that now it falls upon him to undo the concealed, devilish wrongs done by his forefathers, and to ensure that a mythical cosmic threat does not befall the world. He knows that it is his destiny to right the wrongs which may decide the fate of mankind. For indeed, the past has been for the sinners. O forbidden kingdom, which lies beneath this capital, sheltering the spell which keeps evil at bay. The king whispers to himself, looking below at the insignia of his lineage, as if speaking to another nation. Be patient a while longer. We shall not allow the corruptors to be victorious. He cannot even imagine the enemy which awaits, far away, yearning to return. He chooses not to ponder. The bold, courageous king who has sought to bring change shudders to think of the possible threat to his world. The kingdom of Amaruth is one of the least developed nations of the world in terms of technological advancements. A nation has suffered destabilization caused by military intervention from other nations, and the sorrowful consequences of civil wars and power struggles among rulers and those who would use their power in order to ink their name in history. The people of Amaruth are traditional, honorable, lovers of music, literature, and art. A developing nation where the ordinary people are welcoming the new age, fueled by the love of the authority which oversees their day-to-day lives. For in their history, wise and just rulers are written. From house to house, one may hear a sweet tone, the chanting of scripture, the recitation of poetry, and the laughs and merriment of families which hold the bonds which tie them together with high esteem. A struggle for power between two groups of royalty has been a cause of worry, and nations have intervened. Some to stabilize Amaruth, others to take from the nation what they can, acting as though they have come as peacemakers, but ensuring they re-benefit from their act. Many a long years of bloody war, centuries have passed, and many enmities still remain. It is when rulers fight amongst each other to claim what they believe to be their position of authority that a nation fails to grow. Yet, the people of Amaruth have at last decided to put their faith upon one man to free them from the curse of what seemed to be unending conflict. Blood-clad retribution from those who would give it all to acquire the throne of legend placed in a palace which contains the accumulated treasures of the land. The kingdom has at last been unified and now ruled honorably and hopefully by King Gilles, who has promised to rid the nation of its economic instability, hoping to bring the people together in common cause. None remembers truly as to how this lineage came to power. None recalls how King Jils has achieved the throne of Amaruth, almost as if that memory is unknowingly blocked out of the minds of people, a most strange, absurd matter. The people know they have renewed love for this king, but for what reason in particular do they feel so strongly about this monarch? They do not know. The great gates of the palace of legend open, and the king walks forth with his subjects behind him, standing side by side. The king steps forth upon a stage of renewal where the millions look upon him for salvation. Long has Amaruth suffered. The honored king's voice is clear and bold as he addresses his nation, standing in front of the grand palace which had been constructed and made consecrated by his descendants. For indeed, his forefathers had once been faithful theocratic rulers known for their efforts in defending Amaruth against the whims and greed of other nations. King Jils stands in front of an entire nation, and at this day, when he establishes the commandment that the faith of every soul, or the lack thereof, is to be respected, officially expressing the secularism of Amaruth. The hundreds of thousands in the main city look in awe, many whose eyes are swollen with tears as they witness the coming of a new generation, of fairness and stability, that which their ancestors have not seen much of. A new age hath cometh upon mankind, and cometh with this era trials and tribulations. In the crossroads of destiny, we are given a choice. As the world's divisions choose war and to tear itself apart due to justifications of those in authority for the bloody conflicts, we, who are the soul of Amaruth, a kingdom which chooses rationality and divinity, shall not be molten to meet the demands of the corrupt furnace of greed and mischief, becoming tools for nations which are stronger than ours. We shall build our kingdom once again, re-establish ties with our allies of old, move forward with truth and justice, so that our kingdom resembles closely to that which is nearer to the haven our Creator has kept prepared for our return. A kingdom of conscious minds and of grand structures and of goodness and righteousness, where there is a home for every citizen with every faith, giving right to all sensible perspectives of life, creed, and every culture, irrespective of their differences, while dealing with justice all those who live among us. For indeed, this world was made for human beings and the creations which live alongside our kind. Why must we be the ones to divide ourselves? Alas, the borders have been created, and mankind is more divided than we ever have been. We shed not blood for the urge to conquer land, nor do we commit injustice. We shall rebuild, and the stars shall witness our fairness, so that the kingdom of Amaruth stands as testament to mankind's victory and not our failures. Our Lord hath protected our kingdom for centuries, and for centuries more shall Amaruth stand. There is no sound made among the hundreds of thousands. who have gathered for the coronation in front of the palace, directing their solemn attention towards the virtuous king as he speaks his words to his people. The crowning had already occurred within the palace, as is the tradition for Amarut's rulers. There are those who claim themselves to be gods and goddesses. We have no qualms with what a nation believes in, who or what they choose to put their faith upon. We shall rise as doers of good and makers of peace, to re-establish communications with our neighboring governments, express our gratitude, and to do for them regardless of whether they are grateful to us or not. The democratic governments are the most reasonable of allies, for their rulers are chosen not by lineage, but by the people, for the people. Once we rid our land of the corruption which has spread, this somewhat invisible enemy, we shall return to the day of golden hope. The people in our settlements suffer, and we shall not allow this suffering to continue. Amarut belongs to us all. I promise you, continues King Gilles, not only shall we bring salvation to our nation, we shall cure this world of the hostilities that persist, for in our kingdom lies the truth which will unite us. Hope belongs not only to those who follow our path, but to any who step foot on this world of ours. Detached we remain, but we shall be connected by the thread of dreams and stars. Not a single child will go unfed. Our resources are enough for us, and we are also blessed to aid those who require the bounties of our planet. Let Amarut and our kingdom's people be salvation for all. The palace at the entrance of which the king and his closest advisors stand, Elahima Erelis, acts as a sanctuary for a great world faith, believing in the presence of a creator who has long not communicated with mankind. This grand monument for the faithful is but a glorious, exemplary design which stands as a reminder to the ordinary people of the nation of Amarut that the watchful, all-knowing being watches over them and shall one day reward them for their righteous conduct, or so they believe. Indeed, a person is righteous when a difficult circumstance presents itself and they choose to walk the path which is most just to them, hoping that their decision is the right one. In their scriptures of old, the righteous people are they who are conscious of themselves and what effect their speech and action has upon not only themselves but others. Oftentimes, people of authority and also people who have not similar power believe their conduct to be righteous, even though their perception of truth and justice is flawed. The outcome being that the concept of truth and fairness is lost and they are astray, although they may perceive it not. The grand palace had been built with a rare metamorphic rock which the people of Amarut call Inetia, a distinct material extracted from a meteorite which had fallen in the heart of the kingdom. The unique design of this great work of architecture, perceived as holy, acts as the most attractive and significant structural creation of the kingdom. Now the abode of the new king, as has been of the previous kings. There are many tall towers connected to the palace where scouts are on watch at all times. Knights of the king are seen on guard, patrolling and ensuring the king's constant safety. The sunlight shines through the large circular mosaic glass on the roof and sides of the palace, where the designs remind the population of their noble kings of the past and the beautiful sceneries of their nation. Truly, the palace is but a stunning work of art, albeit a fortress as well. Surely, the blissful rays of the sun entered the halls with vibrant colors, reminding those present of the majesty of the moment. Amaruth is one of the greatest suppliers of silk and sugar in the world. Many villages and towns are within the borders of this great nation, where the residents earn their livelihood through agricultural work and low-paying jobs. A few cities have embraced modernity, having developed structures and buildings, advanced methods and machinery which boost economic growth, where the standards of living are better. A large portion of the people of Amaruth live in mud houses in great settlements where there is rich, incredibly beautiful historic architecture which attracts tourists from all over the world. Long, slender, pointed towers reaching up to the sky as if touching the stars. Central buildings of glorious design where people come together to discuss art, poetry, and religion. Indeed, the nation of Amaruth has a very religious population. Grand palaces of kings and queens of the past, the warm sun shines upon the beautiful date trees and the desert land. The nights, in contrast, are strikingly cold, and travelers pitch tents upon the vast sands with their horses, caravans, and goods, sitting together around a campfire and resting, awaiting the crisp sunlight when after worship they would carry on with their life and their trade. The desert is not always safe, as bandits roam, aiming to attack caravans and steal from those who have traveled long, perilous terrain to bring their goods to the bustling markets of the populated settlements of their region. A nation of the old and the beautiful, the ancient and the new coming, held together by the thread of faith. A traditional, peace-loving people in the heart of it all. The capital of Amaruth is special, driven both by faith and advancement. A haven for a people who claim to be righteous. Entry is not so easily granted. One must be worthy based upon a certain criteria. A criteria of being faithful, knowledgeable, and wise. In the settlements which are dimly lit by lanterns and where there is the sweet smell of incense prevalent in the air, gangs of thieves roam among the large gatherings of common, simple people. There are so many merchants who open shop at morn and close their shop after having sold plenty to the people. This side of Amaruth is more traditional, and the people embrace their culture. The religious leaders would rather have them live more simply, humbly, according to their interpretations of scriptures. Among these so-called men and women of faith who hold great power among the common people are the corrupt and those who would worship money at night and lie about their fealty to their God in the morning. Indeed, their atrocities are witnessed by the angels, if not those they fool.